Hey guys, let's talk about books, and by books I mean book, and by book I actually mean books, 7 of them. Well, actually I think 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, 3 books. What I'm talking about is Harry Potter, but only the ones in which thestrals appear, so 5, 6, and 7. I'm not actually sure they're in 6 and 7, but let's assume they are. Anyway, it doesn't matter, let's move on. Here's what we know about thestrals from the book. Hermione raised her hand. Go on then, said Hagrid, beaming at her. The only people who can see thestrals, she said, are people who have seen death. And that's the rule, that's all we're given, those few words about the difference of who can see them and who can't. So Harry can see them once he sees Cedric die, Neville can see them because of his grandfather, and Luna can see them because of her mother, etc., etc. And I would just like to know more specifics about that because I feel like it's really vague and it offers a lot more questions than it answers. For example, I keep wondering that if you've seen an animal die, can you see thestrals? For example, if Hermione saw Crookshanks die, would she be able to see them? And if you include animals, I don't really see what stops you from then including plants, and then fungi, and then bacteria, and I don't think those are supposed to be included at all, because at the very least, then more people would have raised their hand at the Care Magical Creatures class when Hagrid asked who could see them. So let's just say for a moment that animals are not included. Now, it does not directly follow from this that humans are the only species that are included. Of course, J.K. Rowling doesn't make things that easy for us. Because in Harry Potter, there are dozens of species that seem to be sort of in between humans and animals. Goblins, house elves, mermaids, centaurs. There seem to be a range of creatures, from animals to being on par with humans. Where do giants and trolls lie? Is there a distinct separation between beings and creatures? If so, what is it? And does seeing a non-human intelligent being die mean you can see thestrals? The more human-like a character is, the harder it is for me to say that it doesn't count as seeing death. Hermione saw Dobby die, and I think that should count. But let's just say for a moment that it only includes human, just because it brings up another little question that I find interesting. What if Scabbers had died and Ron had seen it? Because Scabbers is in fact a human, but in form an animal, and has been in form an animal for years. This just really got me thinking, what is the difference between the death of a human and the death of an animal? And the only answer I could come up with that isn't really satisfying to me is that humans have a soul. Maybe it's the death of a soul that constitutes seeing death. But of course that only brings up more questions because having your soul destroyed is different than dying. For example, if you get the Dementor's kiss, your soul is sucked out of your body, and Lupin makes the distinction that this is not dying. So can you see a thestral if you've seen someone get the Dementor's kiss? And can you see a thestral if you've seen a Horcrux destroyed, because a Horcrux is by definition a part of a soul? Or does it not count because it's only a part of a soul and not the whole thing? So I emerge with 2 main questions. Number 1, what is it that really allows someone to see thestrals? Because it can't simply be seeing death, as Hermione says. It has to be more specific than that. Because otherwise anyone who had ever had a vase of flowers in their house would have seen them die and would then be able to see thestrals, which clearly isn't the case. And number 2, does the rule concern seeing souls die, seeing bodies die, or both? So these are the kinds of things I think about. Before I go, I just wanted to link you to a video my friend Jenna made. It's called French the Llama Nerdfighters Say, and there's a 5-second clip of me dancing in it, so that's a thing that exists. But for real, it's absolutely hilarious, and a bunch of my friends are in it, so you should go subscribe to Jenna and everyone, and it'll be a good time. See ya. This just really got me thinking about what is it that makes the death of a human different than the death of an aminal. Aminal, really?